This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by WBC Bridgerweight Champion of the World, Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence, first of all, it's an absolute pleasure for your time today. And how are we doing?
Thank you. It's good to be introed as a world champion again. So all good.
That's good to hear. Also, we'll talk about that fight first. Just over 2 weeks ago now, you took on Lucas Rozanski in Poland. How happy with you with your performance that night?
Yeah, I mean, I was happy. I put a lot of pressure on myself beforehand and said to myself, you know, this would be the worst thing that's ever happened to me if I wasn't able to win. So I've taken that same energy about getting the W, coming off of a loss, although it was a majority decision. Going in against the undefeated puncher with an incredible knockout ratio in his hometown. I put the pressure on and said I'm gonna go in there and try to get the stoppage, and I managed to do it. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Yeah,
And what was the experience like of boxing out in Poland? Obviously, you're used to boxing in the UK. Just talk to me about that experience.
it was good. It's just the same as boxing in England. It's the same thing. You weigh in, um, and then when you do a press conference, public workout, you weigh in, and then you have a fight. Same kind of procedure. The only difference is you can kind of feel everyone around wants you to lose. Whether it's the commission, whether it's the PPC in the street, everyone you shake their hand or walk past is hoping that the other guy knocks you out. But other than that, it's just like boxing. Back when I was on the Great Britain team, I actually quite liked it, to be honest. Going out there and I just have a job to do. So yeah, it was good.
And you mentioned putting the pressure on yourself and needing to perform. Did that pressure almost bring the best out of you on fight night?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously the weight was one, and then obviously just saying to myself, whatever happens, go out there and just make sure you do it punch. Those two things together kind of I think created a good performance, and it's given me something to kind of work with and push on with. I liked how sparring went. Uh, the stuff that we were working on was coming up. I think more so the mindset. A lot of times in sparring, I just try to box and be super clever and whatever else. Where this campus, in fights, I never spar the way that I never box the way that I spar. So let's actually spar the way that you want to fight. And I had to kind of put my foot down on the gas and get reps of blocking and all the stuff that I know that I'm capable of. But I just don't. I don't have to go into that bag in sparring because it's a comfortable environment. But I kind of went out my comfort zone, and it really showed on the day. And I'm looking to keep pushing that forwards.
Obviously, you mentioned wanting to push on. What is next for you after the win against Lucas Rozanski?
Yeah, it all depends really. Obviously, there's a lot of options popping up now. So obviously, I just have to basically wait and see which one's the best one. Currently, obviously, I keep saying obviously, currently I have a mandatory in Kevin Lorena for the WBC belt that I just won. So that's obviously probably edging at the front. But then obviously there's some heavyweight fights that have been spoken about that I'm up for. Obviously, Jesus. So I think obviously again I'm going to be upset. There's a lot of heavyweight fights out there that are on the horizon. So if one of those comes up soon, I'll take it.
And just moving away from yourself, next weekend at Selhurst Park, we see a rematch between Chris Billam-Smith and Richard Riakporhe in your former division at cruiserweight. How do you see this fight playing out?
I think Chris should win. He's been on a great run of form, been in there with a lot better opposition than Riakporhe. Riakporhe still hasn't been in there against a really live opponent that you're not sure who's going to win. So this is going to be his first taste of that. He's always got a puncher's chance being a 6'5" power punching guy. However, with someone like Shane in Chris's corner, I think that's going to pay dividends. Shane's a world class coach. So world class coach in Shane, world class experience with Chris. He should be on a high, really confident, beating someone like myself last year, going up against Riakporhe, you should be feeling very confident. Um, but yeah, so I think Chris should win, him and Shane. However, where he has taken damage, for example, in my fight with Chris, his eye cut open. Same thing happened again when he boxed against Masternak, but he pulled it out. I wonder if Riakporhe lands something early on that eye, if that if he gets stopped on a cart, or if he ends up getting stopped full stop, I don't know. But I was favoring Chris, I'm so sure.
Can either man take anything away from their first fight that they had many years ago?
It was a close fight. I actually thought Chris won it at the time, and I don't think was that I might have been in the gym. I can't remember. I actually thought Chris won, um, and a knockdown wasn't given that he got, and it was a razor close fight. And Riakporhe was holding a lot. So I don't know. I don't think that would be allowed in this fight. Obviously, we saw my fight with Chris when I was holding. What happened? I think that um, Shane's really going to be on it. I look forward to that fight. I do think Chris should win, but once again, he never rolled out a puncher like Riakporhe.
Obviously, you shared many rounds with Billam-Smith over the years, including the 12 that you had last year in May. What does he need to do to get revenge on Riakporhe?
Uh, Pretty similar to what the fight with me and Chris, which is not get caught with nothing stupid early. Uh, you know, work well in and out of range. Um, because Riakporhe is not a good inside fighter, and actually, he's more of a good mid range puncher than a long puncher. Although he does like to keep it on a jab and whatever, he clams up whenever shots are thrown at him. So you just got to kind of sustain good pressure on him. Uh, Sustain good pressure on Riakporhe. Um, Allow him to stack up, and when he throws you shots, slip back out of range and then get back in and kind of grind it down. Because I don't know if he's got the conditioning for 12 hard rounds. Although he would have trained hard for this fight, he hasn't really been pushed there by anyone. So it's going to be foreign territory for him. The last time I think was probably 10 rounds against Chris and maybe against Jack Massey, which were both really hard fights for him. So I think for Chris, just maintaining a good disciplined sort of pressure fight, where you're not obviously going reckless, but you're, clear, as you said, intelligent pressure.
Moving forward, obviously, you mentioned heavyweight fights for yourself in the future. A big heavyweight fight that we seem to have on the horizon could be Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. Before we talk about that, we saw Dubois in action last weekend against Filip Hrgović. What did you make of his performance in there?
Yeah, it was good watching it live. It's probably better than it was on TV because on the first round I was gutted because I thought he was going to get stopped, because Hrgović was landing that right hand at will. Although he was eating it well, and after the fight he said that he was just waking him up, which is good to not good to take punches, but good to hear, that he was able to take punches from someone like Hrgović and grind through. I think his tenacity and will to win got him through the hard rounds and pushed it on, and he'll be a hard fighter for any heavyweight. So yeah.
And we know that you shared many rounds with both Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois. Just talk to me about that experience for yourself. What was that experience like?
What do you mean sparring them? It was good. I mean, obviously, um, yeah, they're both good fighters in different ways. Obviously, Dan's a really concussive puncher, really good fundamentals, and kind of just thugs it out the way he did in that last fight. And then obviously AJ accomplished able to do a bunch of different things in the ring. So yeah, both really great fighters. So yeah, if them two fight would be a sensational sort of matchup. It will be edge of the seat stuff because either of them have enough power to stop the other one quite quickly and viciously. So it's good stuff.
And how does the fight play out between the two?
Um, I think that you'd favour AJ because he's obviously vastly experienced, got great sort of speed and power. So he might be able to get the shot off quicker. As in, like if AJ lands a right hand clean the way that Hrgović was landing, AJ got anyone out. But then, the problem is that if it doesn't get him out of there straight away, obviously, as we've seen from his last fight, what's name's always punching Dan. So we saw it even against Usyk, we saw it against Miller, we've seen his last fight. One thing he's going to do is he's going to grit down and he's going to throw 2-3 punches at a time. And when he looks tired, he's going to keep going. I don't know how a man his size has that kind of engine, but he does. So I think it would be up to AJ to get him under manners quickly and early and sort of establish himself in a fight and dominate. Otherwise, it would be a really hard night.
And then very lastly, just want to quickly get your thoughts on Deontay Wilder's performance last week against Zhang Zhang. Wasn't what we expected. What did you make of Wilder's performance in the ring?
I would more so say that Zhang did a really good job. He took away Wilder's right hand with even just his lead hand positioning and sort of like anytime Wilder threw a right hand, he would just counter with a right hook himself. So it was one that Wilder obviously either hadn't trained for, just couldn't see on the day. He was big and he was grafting. Watching it live again, it looked like two different weight classes in there because Zhang could just soak up Wilder's power and just step on him. That's what it looked like. It looked like he was just squashing him. So I wouldn't say it was so much Wilder. It was more so Zhang was just similar to Fury. It's hard for someone like Wilder who weighs in 214, 220, whatever it is, to keep off this guy similar height who weigh 270 pounds because his punching power is still concussive, but they can soak up a lot more, just putting their hands in front of their face and kind of walk him down. And as the rounds go on, obviously he's got power late, but it's not the same. So I would say it was more Zhang than Wilder, but I was a little bit shocked by the stoppage because, it's protect yourself at all times. I don't know what he was thinking, but what can you do?
And where does Deontay Wilder go now after that defeat?
It's up to him. If he wants to keep boxing, probably worth boxing at Bridgerweight against maybe a WBC Bridgerweight world champion. That'd be a great fight for him. What else could he do? Maybe have a fight against a smaller heavyweight. I don't know, but people still want to see Wilder. It's Wilder, and despite him getting stopped like that, you can see he still has power and athleticism. But I would say probably go down in weight, so a more comfortable weight, a Bridgerweight. If not, maybe find a better stylistic matchup at heavyweight than these big 6'6", 6'7", 280-pound guys who've been boxing.
Would you welcome a fight with Wilder if he was to come down to Bridgerweight?
If I was a WBC Bridgerweight world champion, I would. So yeah.
What we like to hear. And then if Wilder is to retire, what legacy does he leave behind?
I think he was the highest KO ratio of any heavyweight world champion in history. That's obviously a good one to have. At one time, he was the most feared puncher in the heavyweight division. I think it was clear. Before the Fury fights, and even during the Fury fights. So he leaves a solid one. I think. Obviously, it's a shame the ending, but then it's at the end of the day he had his time at the top.
Fair enough, Lawrence. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to let you go now. Go and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you for talking to us here at Seconds Out.
Cheers. All right, then. Have a good one.